Well, hello, hello, hello. Once again, here I am, your host, Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy, the life strategist, the owner of Levelless. You know what I mean about Levelless? No levels. We have removed all levels. So you no longer have to compete with yourself or anyone else. The sky is not the limit, so don't limit yourself, and the owner and CEO of GAMS Unlimited, which is a life and career coaching company. Well, tonight, do we have a treat for you? I have two phenomenal guests that's going to be on. But before I bring them up, I want you to contact your friends, your family, have them to join in. We're going to be talking about some great information on alopecia, but it's not just that, because it's what? It's not all about the hair. I remember as a little girl, I had these five thick braids on my head. And I will not tell you the names that they call those braids. And that's how my mother, did our hair. Nice, thick hair. And I mean, thick, thick, thick hair. So thick, it was hard to comb. But as I grew older, I had to manage that hair. I complained about the hair. I did not know what to do with the hair. And many times I disliked the hair. And I know I'm not the only one. Many of you have experienced this as well. And even as an adult, about 2 weeks ago, I went to the hairdresser and I said, or the beautician, old school, and I said, or cosmetologist, do something with my hair. And she says, what? What do you want done? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, look at my face. Can't you give me a style based on my face, the structure of the face, my face and everything, the roundness, the plumpness? And she said, but it all depends on what it is that you want. And I'm like, that's just it. I don't know what I want. And even today, getting up, managing the hair, many times we get tired of trying to figure out exactly what to do with our hair. I know there was a song that came out about several years ago. It's not about the hair, right? Willow, it's not about the hair. And the more we understand that it is not about the hair is just only one data point of who we are. So as we have this conversation this evening, I want you to draft your questions. I want you to type your questions into the comment box. I want you to ask these two ladies that are my guests this evening the question that you have about hair loss, about alopecia. Just talk to us. Let us know what your concerns are. Let us know if you have someone who's gone through some of the experiences that we're going to be talking about this evening. I have not had hair loss, but I will tell you, though, is that at certain times of the year, I feel like my hair is shedding and shedding a whole lot at many times, because it's my understanding that hair grows thicker in the wintertime in order to cover the head to prepare for the elements. I don't know if that to be true or not. I've not done that kind of research to validate it, but that's what I've heard. But let's not go on what we hear. Let's go on some facts. What is it? What causes it? What can we do about it? So what I like to do now is bring up my first guest. My first guest is Sonia Pleasant. Let's bring up Sonia. There
Hi,
she
Max.
is.
How are you?
I am elated to have you here. You know that.
Right.
We go way back.
Way back.
Way back. So,
Yes, we
Sonia,
do.
rather than me tell them about you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then we'll talk about how we met and how far we go back.
Okay. I am, I am a practicing marketing professional. For years, I have worked for the for-profit and the nonprofit industry in terms of creating branding, images, just working as a marketing professional. And I also have my own business right now as an independent marketing consultant. So I assist nonprofit organizations with, creating their footprints, in the environment, what it is they want to be, who they want to say they are. So I assist organizations with determining, just basically, what image they want to portray out in the real world. So that's who I
Right.
am. Have done that for several years. I have another job that I won't talk about because of the employer. I don't want to
Right.
represent the employer or their opinion. So let's
Right.
just say I have another job, and so
Which I love, by the way.
right, which is a whole nother story because
That's right.
I have
We'll bring you
I
on
have
again for that story later.
right, because I have probably reinvented myself probably 2 or 3 times. I've had 3 or 4 different careers, and that's who I am, native Dallasite. And as it pertains to and relates to this subject of alopecia, um, Maxine, you have known me since I was in my 20s.
Yes.
And in my 20s, I had a beautiful, luxurious, flowing head of hair. My hair was past my shoulders
Right.
and very, very thick and luscious and beautiful. And probably, let's see, in my late 20s is when I started experiencing hair loss. So, I'll talk a little bit about that journey as we get
Right.
more into the topic. But
Beautiful. And what Sonia has not said is that she's a blogger and a published writer as
oh,
well.
this is true. I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I blog about travel. I blog about my experiences going to different places and different unique places that most people don't even think about going to, like within the United States, all of the hidden treasures and just great places, that the little towns that nobody ever thinks about going to, and finding just those hidden gems within our own sphere of the
Right.
universe. So
Excellent.
right.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Woo-wee. And as Sonia indicated, we go way back to the point that my daughter was the flower girl in her
In
wedding.
my wedding, yes, she
Just let me
was.
show you
Yes, she
how
was.
close you are. And
Yeah.
remember, ladies and gentlemen, I always talk about make every connection count. The
Right.
importance of building relationships and networking. And don't lose touch with your friends. You
Right.
know,
Very.
COVID is going on. You need to be checking in with your friends, see how people
Mhm.
are doing. So
Right.
rekindle those relationships. I mean, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's a telephone call. So those are part of life strategies that you must continue to enhance and continue to have them moving forward. So this is just a prime example that I practice what I teach. That's what this
Absolutely.
is. So my next guest is Linda Jones. Let's bring Linda in. Come on down. There she is. There she is. There she is.
Hello
How are you
there.
this evening?
I am just fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for being here. And as I did with Sonia, I'm going to ask you to just give us a little bit about who Linda is.
Well, I am currently a writing consultant living in
Mhm.
Dallas. I'm a former career newspaper journalist. So I transitioned from writing and disseminating lots of information over many, many years to helping people write primarily. So I go by the moniker, the writing doula.
Okay.
And I help my clients give birth to the power of their words. So we focus on, or I focus on, and help them develop their writing skills and help them communicate better. And I also help them use writing to preserve legacy and also as a practice for wellness and self-care.
I love that. Practice self-care.
Yes, indeed.
And even taking care of our bodies, our eyes, your feet, your hair, all of that's a part of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And I love the fact that when I read your bio, it talked about you also help individuals to navigate through trauma.
Yes, I'm a certified grief recovery specialist. So I assist people. I help them navigate through grief and through writing. And that's the wellness and self-care part. I help them use the healing aspects of writing to stabilize themselves through difficult situation and, be on the path to healing.
Right. All right. So, our subject for this evening, although we're talking about alopecia, the whole talk about the purpose of me having this platform, Sonia and Linda, as I've told everyone, is about getting information out. We, stream to over 200 countries. And alopecia does not have a name on it when it comes to who is going to affect. Right? We already know that. It does not have a race. It can hit any of us at any given time. I might be here today with this full head of hair. We have no idea what tomorrow holds in store. So, as we start talking about this, we're going to be talking about some of the life strategies that you've used as you found out what you were dealing with and how you have gone about it. And some of the strategies that you put in your life are in place in order to help you move forward. So let's start out with that. So let's start out defining what is it? Who would like to take that starting out? What is alopecia?
I'll take it. Alopecia, there are various forms of alopecia, but alopecia just in general means hair loss or
Right.
loss of hair. The various forms of alopecia, there's alopecia areata, there's alopecia, I'm sorry, it's an androgenic alopecia, which is what we know as male pattern baldness. Okay. And
Okay.
with that particular form of alopecia, it starts in the center of the scalp and it spreads out. Okay. With alopecia areata, it can occur anywhere. That's where you typically see like around the edges, where you see the hair loss. And alopecia areata typically comes from some type of stress or some type of trauma that has occurred to the scalp. With
Mm,
the other form of alopecia, with the androgenic alopecia, that can be an autoimmune disease. It could be a result of hormonal imbalances. It can be hereditary. It can also be a result of stress.
mm.
Um, right. There are lots of different strategies in terms of how to treat alopecia, but no one really has discovered a way to prevent it. Okay,
Okay.
so right, so prevention, is unheard of at this point, and there are different strategies for treating it. Um, there are some chemicals on the market like minoxidil, which is Rogaine, is the clinical name.
Mm,
I mean, the
okay.
manufacturer of the minoxidil, and Rogaine can take up to 6 months before you see any type of result, from Rogaine. And Rogaine is not guaranteed to treat alopecia. There has been some recent studies where there have been dermatologists who have actually done they've taken a scalp and they've done, they've scaled, they've what is it, where they actually biopsy the scalp,
Okay. Mhm.
and then they look to see, are the follicles, are they living, are they dead? What can they do to treat that? And so there's some recent research that some dermatologists are doing with some success. So we get into more time with more science, they're discovering new ways to try to treat alopecia. But
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I said okay. I like
Oh,
the
okay, I'm
answer
sorry.
that you're saying it. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
like, okay.
Yeah, but probably we see the ads on television for the hair club for men.
Right.
And basically, what they do is they remove hair follicles from growing areas and implant them into areas where the scalp has died. And so that's one form of treating alopecia, but it is extremely expensive.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a scientific overview of what alopecia is and some of the treatment strategies that I know of that are in place right now.
All right. So with Linda, I love that, Sonia, that you were able to give us that description. And I think it was a very simplified description of it, because sometimes it can be so medical, technical that you lose like what does that mean? So you put it in layman terms, which I think was awesome. Now, Linda, when you found out that you were experiencing this, what were your thoughts?
Well, but let me add one thing. There's also traction alopecia.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
From just pulling hair too tight all the time for too long.
Like the ponytails we used to put in the girls' hair.
Ponytails,
as tight as we could get them, and their eyes would be going a little.
Exactly. Because that's trauma.
Weaves and cornrows and all of that can cause that traction. Right.
Well, before you answer my question, Linda, I remember when I had my cornrows put in my daughter's hair, right? And she came home. She said, "Oh, Mom, this hurts so bad. I can't touch it. I can't sleep. I can't move. I can't even laugh." It was like, then why do we do this to ourselves? And I'm like, never again. We're not putting this in your hair ever. I don't care who's wearing cornrows. I'm not going to purchase them for you. You get old enough, you'd have to purchase them yourself.
And it doesn't have to be done that tight, but oftentimes when people do things more for fashion like that, and it's so extreme, it causes damage to the scalp and trauma to the scalp. But
thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
Okay. So my reaction, first of all, I didn't know what I had when it happened, but I was in my 20s, and it was just a patch. It was the Sonia described the areata. It's the like a dime, quarter size thinness. Now, I had a thick head of hair too when I was younger, and it was just a shadow, size of a quarter, so I could wear all kinds of hairstyles. And when I wore my hair really short, there was just that bit of a shadow, but I could still do it. But over the years, it got progressively thinner and it spread on my hair. Some people have the alopecia totalis, where its hair is gone everywhere. It's not coming back. So I don't know if there was an immediate reaction. There are things you do, to cover it up. You wear your hairstyles in a certain way. I was not one. It took me a while before I would wear wigs to cover that part of the hair. And it was primarily braids and so forth. So because it was gradual, I just sort of accepted it gradually and did what I could and listened to all kinds of remedies that were offered, this, and you can do that, and you do that. And I would tell people with alopecia, no, it's not coming back if your follicles are gone, dead.
Right.
So I accepted it because it was here. I didn't like it, but yeah.
All right. So help me to understand, just with our viewing audience, because this is a learning experience for me as well. No matter how much reading you do on this, if you've not yet experienced it for yourself, you don't know how you're going to react, And I do know that I had a friend probably about 2 or 3 months ago, she cut her hair off. And of course she said, "Well, I know people think I'm sick. Something is wrong with me." She said, "But I'm tired of doing my hair." She said, "I'm just tired of doing my hair. I'm tired of taking care of it." And she said, "I was complaining about it. And then one day my neighbor said, 'Well, just, cut it off.'" And she said, "You're right. I could just cut it off. It's mine, And that's what she did. She looks beautiful with it gone,
Right.
So that's why I said it's not all about the hair. And many times we put so much emphasis on our hair.
That's a whole discussion within itself, because as Black women, we are always trying to fit into spaces that do not always welcome us.
Right.
And so because there is such a European standard of what beauty is, we feel like we have to maintain that same standard of beauty, which is the long, luscious, blonde, curly, flowing locks. And this is ingrained in us at an early age. I mean, let's talk about our nursery rhymes. We've got Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So we have Rapunzel, throw down your hair, So we have all of these images and all of this conditioning that we grow up with as little girls in terms of what beauty is and what that expectation of beauty is. And, the sad thing is, like, personally for me, was with Black men that I have engaged with or had experiences with, that's their standard of beauty as well. Okay. And so when you are then engaging with, someone who, only wants to be with a Black woman who has hair like Beyonce, so then you've got that you have to deal with as well. Now, my personal experience, when I found out that I was losing my hair, I had just had my third child. It was 1997. I can tell you to the day when it happened. And I had like a quarter size, spot, just like you had, Linda, where I had hair loss, and it just continued to spread and spread and spread. And what I did was I started having weaves put in my hair to cover the loss, the area of the hair. I just, I had a fabulous stylist, and she would blend natural hair with my own hair, texture for texture, and nobody knew for a long, long period of time. And I'm going to tell you the turning point for me, because I started thinking about shaving it all off and, going without hair and everything. And I was so intimidated just by, the imagery. What will people think? Are they going to think I have cancer? What's going to happen? Wow. And so when Black Panther came out, the Dora Milaje, those beautiful Black women, yes, with bald heads, standing, on guard and just in their majesty, that was a game changer for me. That's when I decided, and I even did a live video when I shaved my head. I did a live video on
I saw that
on Facebook.
I saw it.
Yeah, I did. And I took my electric clippers and shaved my head live. And the reason why I did it live, there were two reasons. One was because I wanted to force myself to be committed to the look. And in doing it live, I knew then that I had witnesses that would hold me accountable and responsible for doing it. And then
I have a similar story to that when you're done.
Wow, that's good. Accountability, another
accountability and responsibility, yes. Right? And then the second reason why I did it was because I knew there were others out there who had the same story, and they needed to be able to see someone else who was experiencing what I experienced, and would be willing and needed to see that so that they then could also make that same choice. And I have had so many women come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I cannot believe that you did that. I mean, how do you feel? I want to do that, but I'm not brave enough to do it." And so I just tell them, look, when you're comfortable enough with yourself, you'll make the decision to do it. But don't listen to other people. You have to listen to your own inner voice. And when it's time for you to do it. Yeah. And when it's time for you to do it. Go right ahead, Linda.
You're right. No, because there are a couple because I can relate. So that's obviously.
Right.
my journey was a bit different because for many years I wore my hair naturally, naturals, during the Black consciousness time period that we all grew up in. I wore braids and naturals when all that was going on, but I still had plenty of hair then. And then when I decided in later years, when it got really bad, I started wearing locks, but then I had to wear lock extensions and then lock pieces to cover where the baldness was. My decision I said to myself, one day I'm going to I'm going to shave my hair. I might as well because it's going. And it stopped at a certain point, so there were patches. And I had talks to myself, okay, one day I'm going to do it. No, I'm not ready, and back and forth. It happened to me right around COVID when we were inside and I would take my lock piece off. And I said, you know what? You're not coming back on. You're not going back on unless it's as an accessory. So I decided to shave my hair. I didn't shave it on camera, on film like Sonia did, but I shaved it and then took pictures and shared it and did a quote unquote reveal via video and have never felt so free. And I still love braids and locks and the natural. And those who know me know I had an organization, I still have it, promoting art, culture, and hair called A Nappy Hair Affair. So it was all about that African-inspired styles. And, but it wasn't so much, I didn't obsess over alopecia. Part of me, as much as I love the natural hair and our styles, I did not like not being 100% me. And 100% me was going to be this. So I was 99% for a long time until I shaved my hair.
Right.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, these stories are phenomenal. And so I cannot express enough for our viewing audience. Listen, and you can tell you're not the only one who've experienced hair loss. And like I said, I might have a head full of hair today, but I do not know what around the corner tomorrow holds. So what we can do is to understand is that we're not alone. There are associations out here. There are people out here that we can turn to, ask questions. Don't be afraid to go on the internet and reach out to individuals or to connect with individuals on Facebook, on LinkedIn, who have also experienced what you're experiencing. They've gone through it. They're living through it. So go on and have a support group. Let's have a support person. Let's have an accountability person that you can call on, because you're going to face some hard days whether it's alopecia, whether it's an illness that's causing the hair loss, or whether it's medication that causes hair loss, because medication in itself can cause you to start losing hair. And our diets can also affect the way in which our hair grow or not grow or refuse to grow. So you have to take all that into consideration. Well, ladies, I appreciate you being here and being open and transparent with what you experience and continue to experience. But I love the fact that you said freedom. Yeah. I love the fact that you used the word freedom, because that's exactly what it does. It frees you to be who you are. And that's all God expects of us, is to be who he created us to be.
Right. It's extremely freeing. That's a word that I always, say to people when they ask me, how does it feel? And I said, it was freeing.
Yeah.
You get to that point, because for so many of us, there is such a connection between our hair and our identity. Yeah. And that's unfortunate that it is that way. But for me, it was like a burden had been lifted from my shoulders, and it felt almost like I had not been being true to myself in who I was. And so in order to, with each, stroke of the clippers, I felt like, okay, that's that much of the lie that's going away. That's that much of the lie that's going away, And it
When I
was.
wore,
Go ahead, Linda.
when I wore my lock pieces, I would have them custom made at the time when they were making the really nice ones and everything, and they would be nice ones. But if I got too many compliments, if anybody complimented me too long on those, they would know in a minute. Well, you can buy here. This isn't mine. I just did not feel what is it? Transparent.
Transparent.
By accepting a compliment for something that wasn't mine. Symbolically, I had no problem because I love locks and natural hair. And that's also a freedom for women who feel obliged to have to perm their hair and straighten it. If that's a choice and they're okay with the way their hair naturally is, it's fine. But feeling obliged because of, the social pressure, that's a freedom too, to wear your hair naturally like that.
Right.
But to also, when people would tell me, you shouldn't tell anybody, when I would tell them, this always looks so real, you shouldn't tell anybody. Why? I'm not trying really high. I'm symbolically expressing my culture through my hair, but make no mistake. And even in relationship situations, if I fell too much in love with my hair, they needed to know the truth to see this is me.
It's so funny you say that, because I used to joke, people would say, oh, your hair, just looks so great. And I would say, you can buy this too.
Yes.
But let me tell you where you can get it, So it was like you said, Linda, it was almost like I was apologizing for having to do something that was not natural, and I would make a joke out of it. It was my way. It was my way of coping. It was my way of coping.
That was a strategy. That was a strategy that you were using at that given time.
Yes. And that's that social pressure. No, that's why I knew I know me. Once I'm ready, nobody can touch that. So I had to be ready. If I wasn't ready and did it, I couldn't stand in my fullness. But once I was ready, and when I took, and this is what I did, I took pictures, because when I was doing fully nappy hair affair in terms of events and all of that kind of thing, women would come to me with hair problems about alopecia or getting their hair straightened and burned and all of that thing, right? And insecurities around hair. So, and I would always encourage them and talk to them. So I said, okay, if I do this, when I do this, I need to put on my good clothes, not the jeans and the t-shirts. I'm going to take a picture, because I wanted the image to be as presentable for something like this as I did with locks, for women who had insecurities around those hair issues. And I also, this last piece, I also wanted to do it because I'm a busy person. We both are, right? And I'm sure you probably share this, Sonia. I didn't want every time I walked outside the door and somebody who hadn't seen me in a while would say, oh, you cut your hair and fall out and go through the whole story. I wanted to just announce it. Here it is. Let me gather people all at one time, let them fall out or whatever. But the compliments were so awesome and wonderful.
But oh my gosh, she had like a whole photo shoot. I am so jealous of the way Linda went out. I mean, she had the fashion and the photographer and the music, and it's like, why didn't I do that?
No, but that happened. You know what? I needed to get new photos taken. Because we do public things.
Yeah,
someone invites me somewhere and uses my old photo, and I show up like this, it'll be more attention on my new non-do than whatever thing I'm supposed to be talking about. So I asked the woman who always would take my shots, my professional shots, to do this. And I said, well, I might as well have fun and then put some clothes on and do some things. And that's how that happened. And then I started putting pictures together. I was going to post one. But
Mhm.
then I put pictures together, and the next thing I knew, I called someone, can you
It's
put a
beautiful.
video piece
Mhm.
together? So
It's absolutely
Oh,
that's,
stunning.
it evolved. It wasn't like,
It did.
I'm going to cut my hair and have it. No,
Mm.
it just
So
evolved.
but see, ladies, what you all have just done is that you have shared another strategy. And so I'm
mm.
just pulling these platinum nuggets out that you're dropping. Is that not only is it freedom, but
Yeah.
also go on and do your glamour shots. You know, go on and do a
Well,
photo shot. Go on and make it
Right.
about you because it is about
About
you.
you. It
And
is.
it's not the new you, it's just who you are. And you're just revealing
yes.
another side of who you are.
But
You
You
know,
what
know,
was,
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
what was
I
so
was going
nice is that it's that I didn't want it to be about me, even though I did it.
hmm
And what made that what was so affirming was when one particular woman said, "You make me feel more beautiful than I already am."
Oh, how
And she
powerful.
looks nothing like me. She's a Black woman, but it was that celebration. The comments were celebrating us and
Right.
in
Right.
all of our beauty at all levels. So that's why I loved, you know,
Wow.
That's the
that.
interesting thing, and even with all the luxurious hair and stuff that I had growing up, I have gotten more compliments now from people about not having
Yes.
hair than
Yes.
I ever got when I had hair, which is just a phenomenal thing to me. But I'm going to tell you the greatest compliment that I got after I did my video and I posted it. My 20-something-year-old daughter called me and she said, "Mom, I am so proud of you." Now, to have my daughter say that to me, I mean, it made me weep, for her to say that, that she was proud of me for taking a stand, for being brave, for, going outside the social norms
Yes.
of what beauty was. And to be that example for her, I mean, that was just, for me, was just the greatest compliment that I could ever get. I mean, nobody else, nothing that anyone else has said about it has affected or impacted me as much as my daughter calling me and saying that to me. You
I
Wow.
know,
had a I had a call and I could see I would have wept.
I
We
would.
could
I
imagine
listen.
I would.
I'm already in tears. Man, it didn't take much of a crybaby. So,
I had a call from a male friend who knew I was going to do this
mm,
and all, and he was, getting all the play-by-plays. And so he called, he would start calling me and saying, "How's your head? How's your head?" I said, "I used to get calls to see how I was. Now you want to know how my head is."
right,
And
right.
I got a call from one guy who asked, "Is Rapunzel there?
oh,
Is Rapunzel?"
Uh-huh.
So, and was so amused by that I wound up creating a T-shirt called Rapunzel
Rapunzel.
Remix.
Hmm.
oh, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow. Well, let's just say hi because we do have an audience out here now.
Oh,
And
I
we have
see.
Elizabeth McNeil who's chimed in. Hello, Elizabeth. We have glad to have you. And a matter of fact, Elizabeth is going to be my guest next week. She's going to
Oh,
be talking
wow.
about healthy eating and going to be doing a cooking demonstration for us. So y'all have to come
Okay.
back. And then we
Hmm.
have Charlene. Hi, Charlene. Listen, you all ask questions. What concerns, what questions you have about alopecia or hair loss, period. It does not have to
Hmm.
be about alopecia in itself because, like I said, we experience hair loss in so many different ways. Stress can cause it,
Right.
medication can cause it, the fact that the hair follicles are dying, can also cause it. So, yeah, so if you have any questions or hey, reach out to your family and friends and say, listen to what's being dropped tonight, these platinum nuggets from Linda and Sonia. All
Well,
right, so
they
ladies,
say, I was
go
going to say, they
ahead.
say that 50% of all Black women experience some form of hair loss. So
50%. Yeah.
50%, and what's interesting to me is the celebrity takeoff recently of,
Yes.
wearing your hair like this. Like Jada Pinkett Smith, very recently cut off her hair and was talking about her issues with hair loss. And we know that Representative Ayanna Pressley
Right.
did a very public reveal, as she shed her wigs and weaves and started wearing her bald look. So it's amazing that Hollywood and that those who are in a public profile have accepted this as a norm and as a standard. And it'll be, very, very interesting to see how accepting like corporate America will become with this look, so that's going to be real interesting.
That's one of the reasons why when we start talking about diversity and inclusion,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's inclusion,
Yes,
diversity is just not race in itself. It's so many different facets to it.
Absolutely.
I remember, with the kid, helping my kids in elementary school talk about diversity. I know it's a big norm thing now to have diversity and inclusion certifications and all of that. I said, but Sonia, when we were coming up, we talked about diversity. I mean, when we were PTA moms and helping with the school system and things like that. So this is just another form of inclusion. It is who we are. And embracing what's happening to our bodies as it's happening to our bodies.
Correct.
You got cancer, you got heart disease. We know we have diabetes, leukemia. We have all of these illnesses that can affect our hair and our hair loss.
You know what? I think it's another form. You say inclusion, but I think it's another form of resistance. And the inclusion, it will have to happen because we're going to make it happen.
Right.
It may not necessarily include, but we can see that happens.
Right. We have two questions. We have one says, is this a genetic situation or a health stress issue? Why such a high percentage of hair loss for Black females?
That's
being a Black female in America, there's the stress. I mean, the stress, and because that is caused or exacerbated by stress. The alopecia areola, it can be genetic too. So, and that's very real. That's what we have to deal with in society. It's so consistent, it seems normal. It shouldn't be normal.
Right.
But that constant stress exacerbates that attack on our immune system, that attack that
autoimmune that it was talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right. So it says, I know Charlene says, I have spotty hair loss. My hair follicles are closed in patches on my head. Tried everything to get it to grow. So
my suggestion, just go see a good dermatologist, because a dermatologist can tell you exactly what the source for your hair loss might be. It could be genetic. It could be, deficiencies, in different parts of your body, like vitamins. It could be food related. I mean, you don't know, you can't tell unless you go to a professional and have them diagnose specifically what your issue is, because your alopecia may look like somebody else's alopecia, but it may not be the same. So,
my grandmother was totally,
go ahead.
My grandmother was totally bald. So for me, some may have been genetic. A lot of it may have been, but I never knew her to have hair. I knew her to wear her wigs, but of course she'd wear them off. So,
and see, for me, my genetic hair loss was on the male side. It was my mother's father. Had the pattern. The pattern baldness. And the interesting thing is, none of my brothers got it. I am the only one of 5, that ended up, with the loss of hair, and the rest of them all have beautiful flowing, curly, thick gorgeous hair, and what was also funny was my hair was the thickest of the five of us. Isn't that the way it always turns out? You're the one who has the most hair, and then you're the one who loses it. But
and what's also interesting is when we have hair, we're trying to get it to grow, and it's growing. When we cut it off, it's like, this is too much hair coming on. I got to get rid of it. So if I see a strand of hair, I want to get rid of it, as opposed to saying, will you grow?
I know. It's funny. It's funny you should say that, because like I told you about 2 weeks ago, I think I'd gone to the hairdresser. And so, with COVID, my hair is growing like crazy. And so I'm cutting it off like 2 or 3 inches at a time myself. I'm not a beautician, but I'm cutting it off myself because, with COVID, you don't really want to expose yourself. Right. And so finally, when I did go, she said, well, you have all this hair back here. She said, so what do you want to do with it? I said, I really don't know. And I really did not know. And so rather than just have her to cut the hair for the sake of cutting the hair, I just said, let's not cut it. Just trim the dead ends or whatever, split ends, and let's just leave it alone. Because I felt like, let me leave it alone. Stop. Don't complain about it. Enjoy it while you have it, because nothing is guaranteed in life.
Right.
So Charlene, they did recommend that check with your doctor, go to a dermatologist so that they can do a thorough evaluation and then have recommendations from that professional side. So she wanted to know, what did you recommend? Right. Elizabeth, let's see. Blue Radio, it was the producer, is talked about. He first heard about it through the motivational speaker Sandra Dubose, and Sandra is a phenomenal artist, and she was a beauty queen. Crown and Glory book is what she has written, and so yes, I remember I have met Sonia, know her personally and everything, and she is phenomenal. So, okay, Sonia, so you need to come on. Let's have a talk on life strategies. And so let's see. Elizabeth McNeil out there said, do you think building a strong confidence of who you are and believing in yourself, as in falling in love with yourself, might be a start to a solution to the stress of it all? Ooh, Elizabeth, you're diving deep, girl. That's what I'm talking about. You're diving deep into who you are and believing in yourself. So what ladies, what are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. If you have a strong sense of self, a lot of the things that bother you, those things, that societal pressures as to image and so forth, won't affect you as much. So yes, that's basically,
and we all have an aura.
Yes.
And, when we have self-confidence, our aura is strengthened, and our aura is, it starts in our core, and then it just, emanates and grows out of us. And when your aura is strong, you then attract positive things to you, and that's one way of eliminating stress, is making sure that, that you're always in the presence of positivity and that aura stays strong. So yes, the answer, yes. But Elizabeth, yes. The answer to your question is yes.
And that's one of the things that, because I talk about the mindset and having that achievement mindset or levelless mindset. And it's not only envisioning where you see yourself going, doing, becoming, and so forth, but then knowing that you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to get there. But the main thing behind all of that is believing in who you are.
Correct.
Believing in yourself, believing in that vision that you've seen for yourself, and believing in the abilities that you were given at birth. No one had to teach you many of these abilities. You were given those abilities at birth. But if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you?
Correct.
And that doesn't mean that you sit and say, well, I'm great and I don't have to do anything. No, you continue to do things to improve yourself, but have that confidence that, to know that you can do those things.
And it's so funny when we feel that way, we walk taller, we walk with a purpose, It's so funny I say that because I was going to the post office today and I was leaving the post office and, I was feeling good, and One of the things about this is this makes me make up my face every day. I don't know about you, Linda, but it's because it's because your
Yes.
face is what people see. It draws so much attention to it. So I'm leaving the post office, and this young man, he rolled down his window and he said, "Sister, you are beautiful."
I know.
And I was like, "Thank you." And it wasn't a flirt. It was just an acknowledgement.
Yes.
It was a yeah, sister, I see you, and so I took all of that in and I was like, yeah, look at you rocking it,
And your freedom. That is a lot, and it's very nice. It's for men and women. And it's been nice. Sometimes people will stop. But one of the things that I wanted to be sure of and that's when you're ready to, you do your makeup, but you don't overcompensate.
Right.
When I had to, went to get my makeup done for the photo shoots and so forth, I said, I don't want to overcompensate. I just want to accent. I'm not going to wear earrings all the way down to the ground. I wear earrings just to accent because I'm not trying to cover anything up. I just want to complement what I have.
Right.
And that's all we need to do is natural beauty. I always call it's the natural. It's just natural beauty, and again, you came back and you used that word freedom, because when you're free from trying to do what society tells us to do or behave, or how to look, how to act, what to wear, how to wear our hair. So everybody's putting cornrows in, so you put cornrows in. Everybody's doing the slick look, so you do the slick look. I've never been a status quo type person, And when I have a hairstyle that I like and I feel like it's becoming of me, and my husband likes it, well, that's all that matters. I don't have to please anyone else, because I've had individuals tell me, well, you wear the same hairstyle all the time. I'm like, and?
Right.
Yes, I do, because I like it, and I can manage it. And you're right. I don't have to worry about putting anything on top of it or doing anything else to it. But I will tell you, though, that all I used to get were perms. But I remember as a teenager, and you had, they were wearing the afros, right? Well, my hair was so silky and straight, I couldn't hardly wear the afro because that's just the way my hair grew. But I would have to put it in rollers, wet it, roll it in order to get that poofy look, right? And so later on in life, then I started getting perms. And then about 7 to 8 years ago, I stopped doing perms. And so I've not done a perm in about 8 years. And so I just wash, and I can either wash and wear, or I can wash and blow dry it. And then everybody thinks I've had a perm or thinks I'm wearing a wig, because I usually wear it all in the front and it's so full. And I'm like, no, I'm just blessed at this given time.
Right.
And that's how I have to look at it. But not everyone accepts it that way, because everybody feel like they have to keep up with the styles and all that kind of stuff. Be you, do you, be natural. If the style, every hairstyle is not for everybody.
Right.
And they all try to but they're not for everybody.
When I started Nappy Hair Affair to celebrate our culture through our hair, natural, nappy hair, etc., a lot of people would get offended because they thought, oh, we were hating on perms and all of that. And it wasn't that, because if you look in the hieroglyphs, you will see weaves and so forth. We have hairstyles that are fine art, straighten or whatever, but the whole purpose of the group was to celebrate how you are naturally. If you choose to wear your hair however you want to wear it, as long as you don't feel insecure or hate what you got at birth, whether it was naturally curly or naturally nappy. And that's the whole thing, the self-expression and being okay with who you are. And then you can wear whatever and not be bothered by what anybody thinks.
Yeah. And then I admire the women who do wear all the different hairstyles, because they look phenomenal.
Yes.
And who can wear the flushes, the voluptuous wigs and things like that they put on the hair. They look absolutely beautiful.
Right.
Because I have a friend.
Because it's what's coming
of
Ouch.
them. And that's
Yeah,
what,
from inside.
they believe in themselves, and they believe
Yes.
that they are beautiful. Not that they don't have to believe it, because they are beautiful, because the hair is not everything. Who you
Right.
are as a person within
Mm-hmm.
goes far, far, far beyond just what the person see on the outside of who you are.
Right.
Because what are you carrying in the inside of you? Where is your heart? What is your heart saying about you?
Right.
And how do you care about other people? How do you help other people? How do you reach out to other people? How do you compliment other people?
Right.
As I always often said, Black women cannot compliment one another. And we beg to differ right here.
Yes.
Right
Yes,
here,
we
Yeah.
heart is
do.
there. Let's put that myth
Right.
to rest. Let's bury it,
Right.
because
Right.
that is not true. We have
No,
beautiful
it's not.
Black women, and we compliment each other all the time. And that is so important
That's
that we
exactly right.
continue to do that, and we continue to support one another.
We
Right.
have to shift those narratives,
Yeah.
those negative narratives. They are not true. They're myths,
Mm.
but we hear it enough, we think it's true. Somebody
Right.
says we think it's
Right.
true. And we used to get together and gather and do each other's hair through the hair affairs. People would see it, have videos of it. Oh my God, everybody's getting along.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about each other. I said, yeah,
Right.
we don't know. That narrative is wrong.
That
Mm.
narrative is so wrong.
Right,
It's
right.
so
There are
wrong.
people talking about other people, but it's not. Black women cannot get along.
That's
Right.
right. That's
Mm.
right. That's that support. Women inspiring
Oh, wow.
women, supporting one another,
Yes.
complimenting each other. And I
Yes.
know when I meet individuals, my question to them is, how can I assist you? What can I do to help you? Especially those who are in entrepreneurs and moving their business forward. This is how we can help one another. And I'm so thankful that God has blessed me with this platform that I
Right.
can bring all types of individuals on, that they
Right.
can share, the strategies that they put in their life in order to help them move forward, in order to help them help others. And I
Right.
appreciate you ladies from coming on and being able to do that, because that's so critical. So I know my viewing audience is going to want to know, how do they stay in contact with you? I know they're going to want to know that. So do we have any connections that you want to push out there? Or any upcoming events that you want to talk about?
They can always contact me via Facebook or Instagram. On Facebook, I am Sonia Pleasant Spencer. That is my page. So if you want to go there and ask me questions, or if you want any type of advice, that's where you can contact me there. And on Instagram, I am Fly Diva 50. Fly Diva 50.
Why don't you type that into the chat box for us, and then
Okay,
we'll run that across the
I will do
banner,
that.
and then we'll make sure we put that on Facebook as well. How
Okay.
about you, Linda? What's going on in your world now?
For those who may want to email me, can reach me at linda@thewritingdoula.com, DOULA. I'm on Instagram under Lynn Doula _mojo, and Facebook, Linda Jones, and LinkedIn, Linda Jones.
All right. If you're going to type it in the chat right quickly, then we're going to have it running across the banner, so individuals will be able to get in touch with you. And then we'll come back and also make sure I put it on Facebook for you. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, ladies, I know all good things don't necessarily must come to an end, but in tonight's case, we will be coming to an end. So as we have a few closing remarks from you, what would be your final platinum nugget of a life strategy that you would like to leave with the viewing audience?
I'll start. Yeah. Alopecia is not the end, it's the beginning. We're not our hair. Hair doesn't define us. So if you get that diagnosis, if you start seeing that loss of hair, it's not doomsday for you. It just means that it's a new start. It's a different journey that you will have to take. And just make sure that you educate yourself on what it is, and then develop a plan for how you will then, I don't want to say tackle it, because then that assumes that it is a negative, but how you will approach it. Let's say that. Then you can develop a strategy for approaching it.
Yes, I like that. I like that. What about you, Linda?
Self-perception is, has to do with your mindset. Just work on celebrating yourself and knowing absolutely alopecia is definitely not the end the end of the world when you think of the other things. Put things in perspective. Celebrate yourself. Do the best you can to improve yourself throughout your life. Stay away from the negativity, because that affects that perception. Just be you. And what I tell people often is, when it has to do with this hair business, is when I want to bless them, I say, God bless your royal crown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank our viewing audience for being here, Charlene and Elizabeth. Elizabeth gave me, and she's really she says, yes, Linda and Sonia, thank you for all the information that you've shared, and thank you for all your beauty. Rocking the blackness of it all.
Thank you.
All right.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. So I thank you all so much for being here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know we've come to the end of this conference and discussion tonight. But as I always say, I believe in you and I trust that you believe in yourself. And so, same time, same station. We'll see you next week. This is Maxine Phillips McCoy, your host for Life Strategies.